Let's start off with number 1. Florida State lands Oregon running back Trey Benson. This one was discussed quite a bit all throughout the week, and I think fans are 50-50 on it. It might be even more of negative takes than there are positive takes. I think there's just different ways you can take it. I try to be an optimistic person, and we'll discuss this. But Florida State is bringing in Benson. He came and visited the day after he commits to Florida State. We kind of got some word on this earlier last week and saw this coming. I think they wanted to see him in person, evaluate him, and they probably did their due diligence and talked with any of the contacts they had over there at Oregon. He's 6'1", 215 pounds, and seems to be that he'll have 4 years remaining. Is that correct, D-Lou? 4 years?
Yeah, some people have said 3, some have said 4. I think it's probably 4, based on the COVID year and 2020 not really counting.
Mm-hmm. Well, the biggest thing here, and we'll talk about it, is his health and the leg injury that he suffered. So he went through a pretty brutal leg injury to not just only his knee, but almost, we read up on his hamstring too. There's just a really, really tough injury. It's even hard to come back and run from, but it seems like he's recovered, and he was allowed to participate. Like, he was cleared to participate this last season. Just didn't have a whole ton of burn. And, Florida State, kind of maybe weren't expecting this. There was also Dye, who entered the transfer portal, who had more of a production for Oregon. But Florida State takes Benson, and it seems like they feel pretty comfortable with taking him in. And, that now joins Trayshawn Ward. Now you got a youngin' like Rodney Hill jumping in there. You got DJ Williams, who transferred from Auburn. You lose Corbin. You've got Toa Philly. So this is kind of a room that's growing. I mean, I don't know. I still think the staff was going to wait till the spring, but they see something in Benson.
Yeah, like you said, he suffered a pretty serious injury during his true freshman season at Oregon. During a practice, tore his ACL, MCL, lateral meniscus, medial meniscus, and I'm pretty sure more than that. So it was a pretty serious injury. But at the same time, he didn't have any nerve damage or any after effects like that. Like you said, Logan, rehabbed, was available this past season as a backup. But you have to think the injury happened, I believe, November of his freshman year. So really, he wasn't a full year removed from that until about 2 months ago or so. So this is a guy that's still really getting back from that injury. Had 6 carries, I think 22 yards, and a touchdown this past season in reserve action. But now moving into his time at Florida State, he's going to be going into that second year removed from the injury. That's normally when you see people starting to get their legs back under them. You look at Deshaun Corbin, he had that hamstring injury that knocked him out at Texas A&M, came to Florida State, kind of struggled a little bit in 2020, and then this year has a breakout season and is now heading into the NFL. So, yeah, he's had a serious injury, but guys have come back from it before. And just looking at Mike Norvell's history with running backs, he's put so many guys in the NFL at Memphis. He's going to put Corbin in the NFL at Florida State. You look at what he's done with Trayshawn Ward, Lawrence Toa-Philly, those guys. If there's one area that I'm not going to doubt Mike Norvell, it's when it comes down to scouting running backs.
Yeah, and that's something I was telling a lot of people too. We were talking about on the Mark Rogers show last night, and look at Corbin. I mean, also had an injury. I don't think this one was as severe.
No.
As obviously Benson coming in. But first, you look at what overall Norvell has done on the transfer portal. He's been one of the best coaches in college football right now at killing it and evaluating guys and coming in and where they fit in depth pieces too. And you also look in the running back in his past history, putting guys in the NFL and really having excelled in the running back department in college. And so then you take those two and then you say, hey, if they've evaluated him, they've done their due diligence. They've done a really good job of understanding, what the severity of the injury was. How does he look now? I'm sure trainers and, whatever else they had inside the program, take a look at the leg. If they've done all of that, then there's no reason not to trust what the staff has picked. I think, Florida State fans, you can only really go back and look at high school tape. I'm sure a lot of people have, but you don't get a lot of college tape to work with. So that it's 50-50. It's tough. I try to stay optimistic, and, I don't think this staff has done anything to sway me from being, positive. I think, until something like that happens, it's been kind of, they've been on a good roll in this transfer portal. And, I do trust Norvell's instincts there and getting talent in the running back room. I mean, Florida State has done a great job. Like we said, Deshaun Corbin came in and ended up being your starting running back for 2 years.
I also don't think they needed a guy to come in and be a productive running back right away. I mean, we've already talked about you have Trayshawn Ward, DJ Williams, and Toafili all coming back for next season. You didn't need a guy that can make an immediate impact. You really didn't need it. Get a guy you can develop. But you can also look at it as, that the evaluation on Milton's knee didn't quite work out. So how does this evaluation on Benson's knee look out? We'll see, but they didn't really need an impact running back. Worst case, it's a guy you can develop, and it doesn't sway the needle that much either way.
Yeah, and the thing with this injury is it wasn't near as serious as Mackenzie Milton's injury. It was a serious injury, but it wasn't to the magnitude of something like Milton, where he had so many procedures and it was a question mark if he would ever even be able to return to college football. This is a guy that has recovered, and Logan mentioned it earlier. Florida State got him on campus before accepting his commitment, and he was in town for quite a while. So I'm sure the staff, you said it, Logan, did their due diligence on his injury, checked out his medical records and everything, and they've got to be confident with how this thing is going to go. And you also have to think Kenny Dillingham over there at Oregon right now probably got to look at him as well, and I'm sure Mike Norvell will potentially reach out and got an opinion there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think this one will be interesting. There's a question here from 21 asking, why didn't FSU go after Travis Dye instead of Trey Benson? And I think there's a certain thing. I mean, everybody will have their own ideas on this. I think Florida State probably was early on and contacting and building that relationship with Trey. I mean, you look at Micah Pittman too. He's done a lot of recruiting. He's the one that tweeted on Twitter that, there's another one coming. They're not done yet. And so it seemed like this relationship was built really early on. And maybe Micah Pittman had gotten into the staff's ear and kind of give them a heads up on Benson and, giving them firsthand thoughts on how maybe he was doing in practice scrimmages, being around him in person too, as someone that you'd bring in the locker room. And so they felt pretty positive about it. And Dye might not have even thought about, entertaining Florida State staff. I'm sure they would love to kick the tires if they hadn't already. But some of these guys, when you hit the transfer portal, are already kind of having some ideas of teams that they maybe are expecting to hear from, or kind of in their head or know exactly where they're going. So that's my kind of take on it there, D-Lou.
Yeah, I think it just kind of came down to timing, because Benson entered the portal a couple days or maybe even closer to a week before the other running back. So I really just think it came down to timing in the end of it. I'm sure they would have liked to take a look at him, but it is what it is. You kind of have your starters there with Treshaun Ward, Lawrence Toafili, and DJ Williams. The guys are going to be contributing, and we'll see behind that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, most likely. We'll talk about it a lot more. I mean, he's not coming in to be your pure starting running back. No. I think fans need to they probably do understand that, but let's make sure we keep that in mind. He's not here to be RB1. I don't even think RB2. That's not really the case, in my opinion.
Not
He's
this
going to
season.
Get carries, but it's just not going to be. That's not the case this upcoming year. Nate, welcome back. Hope the nap was good. How was the nap?
Nah, man. Splitting headache, man.
Uh-oh.
I'm good to go now, though.
Okay. Woo. We're back, though. We'll help you.
It's how getting old, man.
You don't look old. You don't look old.
I mean, compared to Dustin, no, for sure.
We were just talking about how old he looks.
I don't have any gray in my beard yet, but
that's fine.
It's coming. The more I talk to you, the more
that's wisdom, bro. That's wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me tell you how wise you are.
Nate, real quick, we're moving on kind of from Trey Benson, but your take on Benson. Should Florida State fans just, riot that they brought in Benson here?
I mean, I understand the trepidation with the injury. I understand that, but they have very limited depth at running back. So I understand the take also. Coming back, he played last year, so it's not like he sat out a year. Granted, he didn't have a ton of production, but from what I heard coming on, Logan, I think you're saying that he's not a guy that's going to be dependent on to be a primary carrier. I think you have Ward, Toafili, and Williams, and even the walk-on, CJ Campbell, who a lot of people are pretty high on, based off last season. So, it's a depth take, and if he's a guy who can get close to form, pre-injury, he was a 10.5, 100-meter speed guy. So see how it works out, man. It's a scholarship that was open. The running backs that are in the portal, I think the one that everyone wanted still has not entered the portal, and you just go from there, man. I mean, I don't think that Florida State didn't take him without doing homework.
Yeah.
So
we discussed that. They did their due diligence. They did their evaluations. Definitely, I think it was good to have him come visit and see him in person before they announced and did the signing.
Sure. And I think that was the delay in it, man.
Yeah.
Simple. Some people expected it last weekend. I think it was delayed because I think FSU wanted to do their homework and make sure that this isn't a wasted scholarship.
No, exactly. So we'll move on from the Trey Benson stuff here, but 6'1", 215, big back coming in. Big back. Big back.
Bat.
You need to go back outside
and
excel your lungs.
As we saw with like Cam Akers, athletes recover differently now. Just with the changes in medicine and rehabbing and all this kind of stuff. It's a different game now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about
I don't hate it.
Akers, man. We'll talk about it later, but look at Akers. Ridiculous. I don't know what's happening. And look at Jameis.
Yep.
An older guy. Look how well he's feeling.
Jameis looks really good right now.
If Jameis is old, then man, damn.
Right.
I'm not saying he's old, but
you're like an older guy. Bro, he's
there's
like
an
27.
age. There's an age difference. He's
as old as me.
He's not like Big Ben.
Well, don't even get me into this. We're talking too much about age today, Dustin. Don't make me bring up anything. I don't know what I'd bring up really anyways, except for college and graduating. What year did he graduate, Austin? What did he start?
Oh, Dustin, he started college, I believe, in 2006.
And I'm still enrolled, baby.
Oh, damn.
That financial aid is kicking.
Still
Absolutely going stupid.
Is it the bachelor you're getting or the master's doctor?
I've almost got my AA. Like I'm a couple credits away.
That's close. It's close. Hey guys, this is Logan. Definitely appreciate you for watching the entire video. If you wouldn't mind, definitely hit that like button down below. Leave a comment on what you thought about the video and make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you guys haven't yet either, make sure you're signed up on our Patreon. This is where we're giving our inside news, inside nuggets, recruiting scoop, and so much more daily. You guys can sign up for that at patreon.com/NoleGameday. It's the cheapest option out of any outlet covering Florida State athletics right now at $2.99 a month. I highly suggest going to check it out. Once again, patreon.com/NoleGameday. Come hang out with us and get ready for the season ahead. See you guys there, and thank you for watching.